Today I continue my Texas vacation with a stop in Austin, the capital city of the Lone Star State. Austin is named after the father of Texas, Stephen F. Austin, and is a fast-growing city of about 950,000 people. Austin is the southernmost capital city in the lower 48 states, and it is home to the University of Texas, the Lyndon B. Presidential Library and Museum, and the Historic State Cemetery of Texas. My first stop in Austin is at the Texas State Capitol Building, which is located on 22 acres in downtown Austin. It was built between 1882 and 1888 and stands 302 feet tall. It was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1970. Like most state capitals, the grounds are dotted with several monuments and memorials, including the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, the Texas Law Enforcement Memorial, the Memorial to Confederate Veterans, and of course, a monument dedicated to the heroes of the Alamo. I entered the Capitol through these doors, and after passing through security, I found myself at the entrance to the Rotunda. Standing on either side of the Rotunda entrance are statues of Stephen F. Austin and Sam Houston, both of whom were born in my home state of Virginia. Sam Houston was born near Lexington, while Stephen F. Austin was born on the banks of the New River in Wythe County. The interior of the Rotunda is lined with paintings of past Texas governors, including Governor Rick Perry, George W. Bush, and Ann Richards. If we look up from the center of the Rotunda at the Capitol Dome, we see a star that is 288 feet above a matching star that is on the floor at the center of the Rotunda. Like Statuary Hall at the United States Capitol, the Rotunda of the Texas Capitol is known as a whisper dome. Thanks to the echoes created underneath the dome, people throughout the Rotunda will be able to hear every word that you say. So, be careful what you discuss. The Capitol building has two wings that houses the legislative chambers. The Texas House meets in the House chamber located in the west wing of the building. The House consists of 150 members who are elected for a 2-year term. In the east wing of the Capitol is the Senate chamber, where the 31 senators meet during each legislative session. Each senator is elected for a term of 4 years. Both the House and Senate chambers have a visitors gallery where guests can come and watch each body conduct the people's business when the legislature is in session. As I finished my tour of the Capitol, I decided to leave my car parked. Parking in downtown Austin can be somewhat of a chore, but I was able to find a parking spot right near the Capitol and decided to walk around the downtown area and eventually over to the Lyndon Johnson Presidential Library and Museum, which is about a mile away. The walk wasn't that difficult, and along the way I came upon the Santa Rita No. 1 oil well. This historic well was one of the first to open the Permian Basin, which would prove to be one of the biggest oil fields in the state of Texas. Today, the historic Santa Rita No. 1 sits in downtown Austin as a constant reminder of the state's rich oil history. My walk also took me past Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium, which is home to the Texas Longhorns. The stadium opened in 1924 and over the years has undergone a number of expansions and renovations, and today has a seating capacity of over 100,000 people, making it the largest stadium in the Big 12 Conference. The stadium is named for legendary Texas coach Darrell Royal, who led the Longhorns from 1957 to 1976. After a short 20-minute, 1-mile walk from the Capitol, I arrived at the Lyndon B. Johnson Presidential Library and Museum, which houses the official papers and artifacts of the 36th President of the United States. The LBJ Library and Museum is located on the campus of the University of Texas. It is one of several presidential libraries that is administered by the National Archives and Records Administration. It was dedicated on May 22, 1971, and both President Johnson and First Lady Lady Bird Johnson maintained offices here until their deaths. One of the first things you see upon entering the LBJ Library is this presidential limousine. Now, contrary to what you think, this limousine was never used by President Johnson when he was in office. He actually ordered it in 1968 to be used after he left the presidency. Once he returned to Texas, he used the limousine mostly when traveling around the Austin area and back and forth to the Texas White House, which is about 70 miles west of here. The library contains more than 45 million pages of historical documents relating to the presidency of Lyndon Johnson. The documents and audio materials are available in the reading room by appointment only. On November 22, 1963, President John Kennedy was assassinated while riding in a motorcade through the streets of Dallas, Texas. A short time later, on board Air Force One, Judge Sarah T. Hughes administered the oath of office to Lyndon Johnson, making him the 36th President of the United States. There are a number of artifacts here in the museum relating to the assassination. Among the items on display are the clothes worn by President and Mrs. Johnson on that day, and the Bible used by President Johnson to take the oath of office. Like most of the presidential museums, the LBJ Museum features a replica of the Oval Office. The Johnson Oval Office features the Resolute desk, a rocking chair that President Johnson kept in the Oval Office following the assassination of President Kennedy, and a painting of President Franklin Roosevelt. Just outside the Oval Office, we get a grand view of Texas Memorial Stadium, the Texas Capitol Building, and downtown Austin. Some people say that this was one of President and Mrs. Johnson's favorite views when they were working here at the library. President Johnson died on January 22, 1973, and for the next 30-plus years, Lady Bird Johnson maintained an office here at the library. Her office today appears just as she left it for the final time shortly before her death on July 11, 2007. This concludes my visit to the Texas State Capitol Building and the Lyndon B. Johnson Presidential Library and Museum. My next stop here in Austin will be at the historic Texas State Cemetery. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up below. And if you want to keep up with my travels, please subscribe. Until next time, it's time to head on down the road and see what's around the bend.